Drive Home with Maggie and Perloff. Afternoons 3 to 6 on WSKO Syracuse, a Cumulus media station. The voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Top of the morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. It is an absolutely beautiful Saturday in Syracuse for one of the best days of the year, if you are a proud Irish American like me. St. Patrick's Day Parade Day here in Syracuse. Parade starting at 12 o'clock right after the show. Might be stopping down there myself this afternoon. Shout out a couple of members of the Burke family, of course, the very good friends of the show, the Burks. We've had Tommy, Connor, and Pat all on the show. A couple of them members of the parade committee. So might be stopping down there, party at the Hotel Syracuse after. It's always a great day when it's parade day, but especially when it's this beautiful outside. I played golf yesterday. It was March 14th, and me and 9 other guys went and played golf yesterday. It was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing. Stone brings up a good point. Thursday, coming up, less than a week, the madness begins. The start of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. We're in conference tournament season right now. I have a hot take that I mentioned last night to somebody, and I'm gonna bring it here. Conference tournament is almost as good as the madness. It's not quite there. It's not quite there, but it's almost as good. Stone, you're up 400 through conference tourney play. Attaboy. Personally, I think I could bet something that was minus 15,000 and it would lose. I am on a cold streak like you've never seen. Yes, it is a light head count today, Jim. No Josh. I'm going to have Josh tell the story in full when he comes back next week. But I'm on the golf course yesterday. And I believe I was on like the 13th, 14th hole. Played down to Foxfire. It was beautiful. And I'm on the 13th, 14th hole. Phone starts vibrating. Getting a phone call. It's Josh. I'm like, okay, I'll pick this up. I usually don't take calls on the golf course, but, you know, I'll see what Josh wants. He goes, Mark, buddy, the bats, yes, Foxfire is open with carts. I played it yesterday. He goes, the bats have taken over the apartment. Now, some of you might know, if you listened to the Half Ounce Half Hour a couple of weeks ago with Stone Sports Podcast, Josh and I, pretty much every other Thursday, live on Stone's Twitch account. And now on moving forward, it'll be on Twitter as well. And we were doing the Half Ounce Half Hour, and Josh told a story about how there was a bat in his apartment. And apparently there are now more bats in his apartment. It has caused him to move. The bats have taken over. I don't know all the details. This was a very quick conversation I had with Josh. And yeah, so that whole thing is going on. He was getting a U-Haul to move out of his apartment today due to the bats. And he has the gout, which was just threw that into the conversation as well when we were talking yesterday. He tells me, he's like, yep, I got this U-Haul coming. We're moving out. Oh, and I have gout. So he's got gout as well. So big time no for Josh today. He's not just hanging out at the parade or anything. He does have legitimate life things going on. So Jim, it doesn't sound believable, but it is true. I 100% can guarantee that this is a true statement. Josh's apartment was overrun by bats. I don't know how many. He claims there are dozens. I don't know if I believe that. And yes, Stone, he's got the gout. Don't know how he got the gout, but apparently he's got that too. So big no for Josh today. But anyway, what I was saying earlier is conference tournament season this week, champ week, as they call it on ESPN, is almost as good as the first two rounds of the tournament. But I think it's better than the Sweet 16 on. It's just sheer amount of games. The fact that starting at 12 o'clock today, probably. I should double check that before I say anything. No, not even starting at 12 o'clock. There's 2 games on right now. Which one of them I'm going to turn on in the studio. Maine and Bryant are currently playing in the America East playoffs or the America East Conference Championship. And Princeton and Yale are currently playing in the Ivy League tournament semifinal. So there you go. It's right now. It's 11 o'clock on a Saturday, and I can turn on college basketball here in the studio. It's beautiful. I love this time of year. And sure, the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament are unrivaled in sports. This coming Thursday and Friday are the 2 best sports days of the year. And I can't wait to watch all the games. But conference tournament play it's so good. There are so many games today. And there's a couple right now. Next slate starts at 1 o'clock. You got Tennessee and Auburn in the semifinal for the SEC. You got Wisconsin, Michigan State. Wisconsin, kind of a sleeper this year, 18th in the country. They're 25-8. They're playing in the Big Ten semifinal. Alabama, Florida is going to be a really fun game. Total at that one is set at 175.5. Guess what? I bet the over because death, taxes, Bama overs. That's how we do things here. And it's just so fun to watch. Jim says, what's better than St. John's at the Big East tournament? That was fantastic last night. First of all, it was a great game. Marquette off to a big lead in the first half, and St. John said, hey, wait a minute. Who's vying for a potential 1 seed in the NCAA tournament? That's right, it's the Johnnies. I don't think there'll be a 1 seed. I think there'll be a 2. But anyway, St. John's came back, played a great second half, and it's just the best time of year. Then right after that, you had UConn Creighton, which was another good game. And Jim says, darn, UConn lost as UConn St. John's would have been epic tonight. That would have been a great Patino versus Hurley would have been the entire storyline. It would have been fantastic. But I think Creighton's a better team. So I think St. John's Creighton is going to be a very fun matchup in that one tonight. So it's the best time of year. It's parade day. We're going to have a beautiful day today on the show. Phone lines open the entirety of the show, 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. That's 315-671-1260 if you want to call in. Phone line's going to be open the entirety of the show. If you're tired of listening to traditional radio, which I still love, I do this for a reason. It's because I love it. I love working in radio. But maybe if you want a little bit of an upgrade, you can head over to YouTube. Go to the Score 1260 YouTube channel. Make sure to like the stream, comment, subscribe. I've got a live chat going here during the stream, so I can see your comments on YouTube as you submit them. You can also go over to Twitch or Twitter. Both of those, same username, marker_box. So it's twitch.tv/marker_box or x.com/marker_box. Go to either of those, and you will see the live stream as well. I've got a camera set up in the studio, talk to you during the breaks. It's a really fun time. So make sure you go and do that. And make sure to chime in, 315-671-1260. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back in just a minute here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Must qualify for enrollment.
Jim said if only Manchild Show knew there were these other options. Maybe soon. I'm not gonna give any more information than that, but maybe soon. Also, it wouldn't be parade day without a little something to sip on. Got some Smittix Red Irish Ale here in the studio. Absolutely delicious. Not paid by Smittix. They are my preferred international Irish ale. They are my preferred import for an Irish red, but not my preferred Irish red in general. That, of course, belongs to one I just had for the first time the other night, and it was absolutely fantastic. The Naughty Shamrock at Myers Creek Brewing Company. This isn't even like a paid thing I'm doing right now. Of course, they sponsor the show, but that's not what I'm doing. I loved the Naughty Shamrock from Myers Creek. I thought it was absolutely delicious. Irish Ale might help Josh's gout. It really might. Is the lighting okay? I think it's just because I've been staring into a light this entire time. There we go. I feel like that's better. Yeah, the problem is I didn't chill this enough before I brought it in here. The pours are not going very well. It's a long process to pour these things. I should just drink it out of the can, but I'm glad the mic works. That's always it's always a concern now that the microphone is in fact working. I'll call to talk about my bad beats this week. Save a job, take it in the can, sign the aluminum industry. Hey, listen, I like drinking out of a can. There are certain beverages that are better poured into a glass, in my opinion. I got this in anticipation of Josh being here as well, but as you may remember, last year for our St. Patrick's show, I had Guinness in the studio, and so I was like, oh, I'll switch it up this year and I'll grab some Smittix, but didn't work out that way. Did not work out that way. I know it does, Jim. I'm excited. I'm excited. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Phone lines open the entirety of the show, 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. Just call during the breaks. I can screen your call and bring you on right after. Well, this is the best time of year to be a sports fan. College basketball tournaments, Baseball ramping up. Season starts on Tuesday with the Tokyo series. Dodgers are already there. Shohei Ohtani hit a home run at like 6 o'clock this morning in the Tokyo Dome because, of course, he did. The guy's really good at baseball. But Dodgers will be taking on the Cubs to start the regular season in Japan, which will be a lot of fun. Shota Imanaga versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. A couple of Japanese starters in that one. Imanata for the Cubs, Yamamoto for the Dodgers will be starting the first game of the Japan series. It's going to be so much fun to watch. I can't wait to lose many hours of sleep watching baseball in Tokyo. Them's the breaks. That's when you're a big baseball fan, that's just what you got to deal with. But while it is a great time of year and a new season is blossoming in Major League Baseball, the season also came to an end on Wednesday night. Thank God the Syracuse men's basketball season is over. I mean, sheesh. PU. Team's finally done. They got absolutely dismantled by SMU on Wednesday night. I turned this game off with about 10 minutes left in the second half. The last 10 minutes in the first half and the first 10 minutes of the second half were maybe the worst basketball I've ever seen. And I had just watched the Syracuse Florida State game the night before, which SU somehow won despite playing terrible basketball. But yeah, this game was a real stinker. Syracuse lose 73-53. I've never been more relieved that a basketball season was over than this year. I live for Syracuse basketball. I love the team. I love going to the games. I love watching the games. I think this was the lowest percentage of time watching SU basketball that I've ever spent. Strictly out of frustration. This, at least we are told, is allegedly a championship-level program. And we know they were at one point because they won a national championship in 2003. Carmelo Anthony, Hakeem Warwick, Jerry McNamara, we all remember. This team has fallen so far that I don't even know going into next year what to think. 14-19 overall record, 7-13 in the ACC. Another school had a very similar record to that this year. A team that's gone to 7 out of the last 15 NCAA tournaments. Iowa. Conference record this year. Very similar regular season record as well. A little better than SU, if I remember correctly. Iowa this morning fired their coach. Apparently, that's not the standard that Iowa wants to set for their basketball program. And I know he had been there 15 years, and he had done a good job in most of those 15 years. But he had this season, and they fired him. And I'm not saying that Adrian Autry, for sure coming back for a third year, which we know now, is necessarily the wrong decision. I'm not saying that Adrian Autry should be fired. I just think it's interesting that Iowa seems to have a higher standard for basketball than Syracuse University. Last I checked, I don't remember the last time Iowa won an NCAA championship. They've had some good teams in recent years, sure. I remember that Luka Garza team. It was a good team. But it's not the same level as a Syracuse University. And there's been a lot of talk, and coaches have talked about this, and specifically basketball coaches, of potentially with all this conference realignment, maybe the ACC and the Big East forming an alliance for basketball. You combine the ACC and the Big East into one kind of mega conference for college basketball. And this excited a lot of Syracuse fans, myself included at first. God, it would be so nice to have SU Georgetown and SU UConn and SU Nova and SU St. John's, these games of old that we all remember, and they mean something again. Of course, Syracuse still plays Georgetown every year, and it means next to nothing for a lot of people. You might remember Josh and I went to the game with Josh's father and my father. Josh and his father, big Hoyas fans. Me and my father, of course, big Orange fans. And it was fun. We had a great time. And a couple of people barked at, Josh and his father, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the feeling that we used to have in the Big East days. So a lot of people, when the thought of those games meaning something again came to mind, it was like, wow, that'd be great. I would love to see Syracuse play St. John's again and have it mean something, and I would too. I would love for that to happen. Except for the fact that Syracuse would lose that game by 40. It wouldn't even be close. UConn had a quote-unquote down year. They're still going to be a tournament team. They'll probably win a game or two. Danny Hurley's a good coach. But they had a quote-unquote down year after back-to-back national championship runs. They'd annihilate Syracuse. As would St. John's, as would Marquette, as would Creighton. Duke ran us out of the building. I don't even want that right now. If anything, Syracuse, the way they played this year, should be in the MAC or something. Maybe even the MAAC, the MAC. Because this was not a team worthy of the ACC, and it certainly wasn't a team worthy of the Big East, the way they played this year. And of course, I'm being hyperbolic. I think Syracuse belongs in the ACC for a variety of reasons. The football program is doing great. The lacrosse program, big win over Johns Hopkins in their last game at the JMA Wireless Dome. I was there. It was awesome to watch. So, of course, I'm being hyperbolic, and I don't actually think that Syracuse should be in the MAC or be anywhere other than where they are, outside of maybe the Big East. But the standard needs to be changed. The standard needs to be reset back to where it was 15 years ago. And I know 15 years ago, we weren't in the ACC. We were in the Big East. But that was when Syracuse had an identity, was nationally recognized as one of the premier programs in college basketball. And now they're just a team that the ACC gets to beat up on when they play them once, maybe twice every year. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Maybe next year will be better. Maybe Donnie Freeman and Elijah Moore come back. Kyle Cuff said he's going to come back, probably. Maybe Kyan Anthony and Sadiq White will be electric freshmen. And them combined with the sophomores, Moore and Freeman. If we go out and get a big man, maybe there's some excitement there. Maybe that's a team. Why do I have any reason to believe that Donnie Freeman and Elijah Moore will be suiting up for the Syracuse Orange next year? There was nothing I saw this year that leads me to believe that they would want to come back here next year. Adrian Autry made plenty of questionable decisions with his use of both of them when they were healthy. People like myself were pounding on the table at the start of the year. Start Elijah Moore. Start Elijah Moore. Start Elijah Moore. And he did. And played him 14 minutes a game. I didn't get it. A lot of people didn't get it. I've talked to many people about this, and no one seemed to understand it. Donnie Freeman, when he went down with that mysterious day-to-day foot ankle injury, that, oh, yeah, he's day to day. We'll check up on him soon. And he missed 2 months. Before he got that injury, he was leading the team in points and rebounds and playing about 25 minutes a game. Didn't seem to make sense. I know he's a freshman. You don't want to put the entire load of the team on him, but you didn't have to. When J.J. Starling was healthy, Eddie Lampkin had a great second half of the season, struggled against SMU the other night, only had 5 points, but he only took 2 shots in 26 minutes. Still grabbed 10 boards, had a couple assists, and a steal. But with Lampkin playing the way he was in the second half, and Jair Davis being a revelation for this team in terms of his athleticism and his hustle, Jaquan Carlos had a solid second half. You got contributions from places that maybe you weren't necessarily thinking you would. And I know it's a lot of what ifs, but it just seems like this could have been avoided. This entire season could have potentially been avoided. All the anguish that Syracuse fans have gone through. I don't even know if I should be excited for next season. Now, granted, the roster is going to look a lot different with this modern age of college basketball, with the transfer portal and NIL, and who knows who's going to be on the team next year. Maybe none of these guys are on the team next year. Maybe all of them that are eligible are. We don't know. But I do know that Coach Red's got to make a big shift for me to believe in this program again. Whether that be a culture shift, whether that be a personnel shift, I don't know. But if Red is going to be the coach next year, and he is, I'm going to need something to get me back into being as excited for Syracuse basketball as I normally am going into every season. I said this team was going to win 20 games this year, easily. I said they might win 25, be a fringe tournament team. I was that high on Lampkin, and especially Freeman and Moore. And I was just left wanting more at the end of the day. So we'll see. But the season's finally over. Of course, we'll talk about if there's any changes. But it is kind of refreshing to know that I won't have to watch this team anymore this year. They won't hurt me anymore this season. Speaking of refreshing, I went down to Myers Creek Brewing Company on Wednesday night for our trivia. Didn't do great. It was only 4 of us. Not a great turnout for the team. And I had their new Natty Shamrock Irish Red Ale. Absolutely delicious. I know they sponsor the show. I would say this for free. I absolutely loved it. I'm a sucker for an Irish Red Ale. And this one instantly became my new favorite. It's so good. So maybe on this parade day, you don't want to deal with the hustle and bustle of downtown. Maybe you stop at our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company. They've got 2 locations. The Palace out there in Cazenovia, which it's a beautiful day for today. Or if you don't want to drive all the way out to Caz, you stop by the Inner Harbor, go to their Syracuse location, the tap room. Enjoy a Naughty Shamrock, or a Velvet Fog, or a Berry Manilow. Any of the 16, count them 16 delicious beers they carry on tap at both the Inner Harbor and Cazenovia location. Maybe you get a pizza. Maybe you get some mac and cheese. Maybe you get some award-winning wings. Whatever you get, you'll enjoy it with our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar and beer of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands.
If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
Who's going to pay me more, Myers Creek or the station? Because the answer is both. Why do you say that? Shout out the Miralax ad playing over the traditional air right now. What's this from Soup? Event page. Oh. Everyone watching this in the Syracuse area, I believe you can now go to the Pillars of Autumn Facebook page. Pillars of Autumn, of course, the best band in Central New York. And I'm not biased. I'm just the guitar player. But I believe on our Facebook page, the event is up for our next gig, April 9th at Ale's Wine and Whiskey, downtown Syracuse. Yep. It's now up. The Pillars of Autumn at Ale's Wine and Whiskey Lounge, April 9th, 10 p.m. start. It's late. Listen, I've been playing, I've been playing music in some capacity for a long time. I started playing saxophone when I was 8 years old. I started playing live in school when I was 8 years old, and then out of school in high school as a guitar player. So I've been doing it a long time. I've played quite a few gigs. These 10 p.m. gigs are tough. They're real tough. Get done at 1. 10 to 1's oof. I don't even remember what day of the week this one's on. I'm also playing March 29th. Let's see. April 9th is a Wednesday. Perfect. Nothing like ending at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. But I'm also playing a gig March 29th at the TK Tavern in Syracuse with a few other guys that I've been playing with recently, including my cousin Brian, who's an incredibly talented musician. I like how Stone said they got to pay you more and then just dipped. Why? Why do they have to pay me? Outside the box, or what's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Stone. I'll throw you on hold. Oh, there he is. Now I can ask him on the phone. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. Going to jump over to the phone lines. Phone lines open 315-671-1260. Just call during the breaks. It's my good buddy Stone Sports calling in. Stone, how we doing today, pal?
What's going on, man? It's the most wonderful time of the year. We've got conference tournaments, basketball starting at 11 o'clock. Next week, it's Thursday. We got actual NCAA March Madness. Oh, I can't wait.
It's the best. It's the best, Stone.
It's my gambling Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Me too. And the Super Bowl. That's also my gambling Super Bowl.
I had a Cooper DeJean pick 6, so if I don't mind saying
sicko.
that.
You absolute degenerate. I love it.
I had a bonus bet from King of the Court. It was like $46. I put it on a DeJean pick 6.
That's nice. I broke even on
Oh.
the Super Bowl.
Yeah, now Cooper, forever in my heart. I saw he's got a brother coming up now, too. He's like 6'5".
Yeah, his brother's probably a better athlete.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, I figured I would call into, because this is my gambling Super Bowl, I've been paying very close attention, and boy, did I get screwed by Colorado and Houston the other day.
Oh, what was the beat?
So I'm live betting. This is where I make a lot of my money in March, is live bets.
Yep.
See the lines early, get a little movement one way or another, and you're like, I make a judgment call.
Mm-hmm.
The under looks fantastic. Number was high. Shots were coming at a premium. And all of a sudden, Houston's up 15 points with 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
Game's over, right? It's a 1 seed versus 16. These teams need to give up. I understand you're playing for the rest of your life. Like, this is your last run at a college, possibly anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You went 13-20. Like, you're not a good team.
You're
You weren't
really
going to make a
bad.
run to the tournament. You're not going to beat the 1 seed Cougars. Stop fouling when you're down 15. Oh, my good Lord, the amount of free throws that came out of that game. I couldn't believe it.
Just give up. I agree.
Finally get to a point. I'm 1 point away from my under. I'm chilling. Houston, thank the Lord. They finally are just dribbling the clock out. Colorado stops fouling. Everything looks good. Turn the ball over to Colorado. It's like 16 seconds to go or something.
Mm-hmm.
Homie comes down, puts up a floater, bricks it. Same shot he bricked the play before. Offensive rebound, not once, not twice, but 3 times to get a game, not a game winning, but it screwed my under enough to get me
An overhitting.
Yeah, a layup with like 2 seconds to go. So Colorado, banned. Houston, banned. I want no part of any of them. Shadur Sanders, I hope you fall.
Smart betting a Houston under, though. That's like, I don't bet Houston overs, even though the pregame total for that was 127. Not even close. The final was 77-68. So hammered the pregame total, but or pregame over. But yeah, Houston unders typically smart. Yeah.
And then last night, Boise State, shout out them, they're the best. They saved my night with their money line. Plus 100 was free money. But Purdue, never again.
Never.
You don't have Zach Edey. How did you lose like 18 or something to Michigan? You were favored.
Yep. Yeah,
they were down
2.5 point favorite.
Early. Yes,
yeah,
and they switched to a 2.5 underdog, and I was like, done. I'm hitting that. Halftime, they were only down 2, I think 4. It was close.
40-36.
I fall asleep and I wake up this morning expecting a nice little surplus in my bank account, and guess what? Purdue's dead to me.
Yeah, Stone. If this is where you got to listen to me, I've been saying for years, Purdue are frauds. Absolute frauds.
Shout out Carson Edwards, but frauds.
Yeah, shout out Carson Edwards. He was fun when he was there. They were Zach Edey merchants. And even Edey was a little fraudulent. But that team is not that good. They went 22-11. They were fine this year. They weren't going to, go on the run like we saw them do. What was that, last year, 2 years ago when they made like the Final Four?
Yeah, I'm out on. I can't believe Michigan beat you like that. It's Michigan. Dickinson's not even there. He's at Kansas.
No, he's at Kansas. Another fraudulent player, by the way. Hunter Dickinson is not that good.
I watched him make in that game against who they play. When it was Duke UNC, it was the same night. I don't remember who Kansas was playing now, but I watched him make like 3 passes that like I wouldn't make. What was that?
What are you doing?
Yeah, bounce pass into traffic.
Yeah,
I also hate when these big men just they just stand around waiting for like the time to set the pick. Do something else. We'll go around the paint, switch blocks, set a screen underneath, do something else. I hate when they just stand in the high post, waiting for the point guard to move.
Hunter Dickinson is just big.
Yeah.
It was similar with Edey. Edey is they're both decent basketball players. But if you're that big in college and you aren't Shaquille O'Neal, then there's a problem. Like
it makes me laugh. I went to school with Hunter Dickinson, and he was also big, but not the same way. He was a nose guard.
Oh, okay, the big dude. Dude,
Makes me laugh. Though. I'm like, same name.
I went to the Syracuse Virginia game this year, the last game of the regular season. I was covering it for Rivals.com, and I was in the locker room after the game, standing next to Syracuse's backup center, Naheem McLeod. Naheem McLeod is 7'4". I've stood next to some big dudes before. Like I've seen guys, stood next to guys that are 6'8", 6'9". 7'4" is a different, that's a different breed.
Anytime I see somebody that big, I'm like, how do you shower? There's no shower made in human history that can accommodate you.
I almost asked him. I'm in there trying to get quotes from players and stuff, record video. And I really wanted to interview him and be like, what is your life like? I don't care about basketball with you. How do you function on a day-to-day basis being that massive?
Does your back hurt from ducking through doors?
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm 5'10". I'm a very average-looking man. And I'm just standing next to a man that is more than a foot taller than me. A foot and a half to be exact. It was wild. I looked up, like you would have thought I was looking at the moon, like the way I looked up. I'm like, huh?
One more thing about betting yesterday.
Yep.
Florida Atlantic, also dead to me. I should have known better. I bet them pregame. It was a number play. I liked the number.
Yep.
And then I started watching the game when I got home from work and realized Ron Hunter was coaching Tulane.
Yep.
And went, uh-oh. I picked the wrong side of this one. And then FAU proceeded to do nothing. Their big men did exactly what I was just complaining about.
Yep.
And their point guard did that stupid, Stanley from The Office crouch dribble, where he just went from sideline to sideline around the perimeter until they ran out of time, and then he dished it off to somebody to take a horrible shot. I couldn't believe I had money on that team yesterday.
It sounds like Syracuse. It sounds
also the one time I faded Syracuse, they covered. I've stayed away from them all year long listening to your show, and you guys you talk about them. I finally was like, all right, somebody. I don't even remember what team it was now, but I had somebody on the spread and they covered.
Well, the problem is they covered a lot this year. they randomly covered a lot of games. They would just lose, and typically by blowing it in the second half. But they were kind of a cover machine this year. I think Jim probably has the number. He'll probably say it, but they did cover a lot of games.
Written down somewhere.
Stone, before you go, I wanted to ask you about the last thing you sent in chat. Who's got to pay me more and why?
Myers Creek.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All
fair.
this incredible advertising, man, went like a minute and a half before the actual ad.
Yeah, that's how I do things.
Just get some cash.
Myers, if you're listening, which I know you weren't, I'll take it. Anything else, pal?
Duke, did they go anywhere with no Cooper Flag, or is Cooper Flag going to be out from the tournament?
That team's really good. They should have lost last night.
They should have lost yesterday, and honestly, they should have lost to UNC last week when they played.
Yeah, I think if Flag is out for the tournament, they win their first two games and then probably lose in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, agreed. Con Knuppel can only get you so far.
Yeah, and that guy's good. Like I really like Knuppel, but especially they also lost Malik Brown. Shout out Malik, Syracuse transfer, who re-dislocated his shoulder, and that's never a good thing.
If I dislocate any part of my body, put me down.
Yep, just kill me on the spot. But yeah, so he re-dislocated his shoulder. They're both 6'9". Malik's a really good defender, so they'll struggle down low without those two. So Flag is going to be out for the ACC title game. They already said that. And if he can't make it back for the tournament, I don't see them going on the run that we all kind of thought they were going to.
I like Cooper Flag, so that sucks, but I also hate Duke, so that part's all right.
Can't stand him. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Feelings.
they lose in the first round, I'm okay with it. I hate the Blue Devils.
Also, the Spurs somehow luck into Cooper Flag now that Wemby and Fox are done for the year. I quit. I quit.
Brother, welcome back to Tim Duncan.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's I think
1997.
yeah, it's 1997 all over again. Because I do think that team is going to end up with De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, and Cooper Flag, and just be an absolute nightmare for the next decade.
Good luck, OKC.
All
right, man, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll hop off there, let you get the break and whatnot. But yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right, yeah, talk soon, Stoned. Talk to you on Thursday for the half ounce, half hour.
Absolutely.
All right, there he is, Stone Sports calling in. You got to take a time out. We'll be back in just a minute here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Attention, if you...
Stone, I'm proud of you. You're doing well. It's a thing I have to think about constantly. I've found for, knowing, I know, yes, that was Stoned on air. Jim, you missed Stoned calling in. You can go back and watch it on YouTube. But I found getting to meet like a fair amount of broadcasters, some more famous than others, but there are two types of broadcasters. There's the ones that swear like a sailor when they're not on air. There's famous stories about Bob Uecker and a bunch of guys that do this. And there's the guy that hasn't said a swear word in 50 years, Mike Tirico. Vin Scully was like that too. When does the golf guest come on? I can try to get Jimmy Roy on the show. It's tough with Jimmy, like, especially with Kevin playing as well as he has recently. Because, he likes to go foul. And I know he missed the cut at the Players this week, but the fact that he was in the Players at all is an accomplishment. But Kevin's been playing really well recently, so I'll see if I can get Jimmy on. But if not, I don't have any other golf guys. I'll have to find another golf guy. You would think working at a country club, I would have a lot of. I mean, I do have golf guys, but what am I gonna get? My buddy Hunter, which Hunter's more than welcome to come on the show. I've asked if he wanted to come on before, but he used to have a golf podcast for a little bit. It was called 1 Under Through 1. It was good. I think that's the only thing Boeheim would want to talk about if he came on the show, Jim. Also, I would love to have Jim Boeheim on this show. Especially with Josh here. Just have a very chaotic show and Jim Boeheim. Also, I think he's a damn good broadcaster. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Want to give a little bit of an update on the fifth major. The world of golf in full swing right now. The Players' Championship going on this weekend at TPC Sawgrass. Two-way tie for the lead. The Australian, Minwoo Lee, and Akshay Bhatia. The American, young lefty, really fun player to watch. Both of them are really great players. Tied at 11 under. JJ Spawn at 10 under. And then a couple of really good names. tied at 9 under, just a couple of strokes back. Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, and Alex Smalley. Alex Smalley, not as well known as the other two, of course, but really, really solid players. Zalatoris is only 3 strokes back. Tommy Fleetwood, 4 shots back. Obviously, the Players always has maybe the best field of the year, but really, it's going to be a really fun weekend at Sawgrass this year with a lot of guys in the mix, and the course not playing as hard as it normally does, at least not yesterday. Jim said Minwoo Lee, second best golfer in his family, signed Minji Lee. She is incredible. Minwoo and Minji, both really great golfers. Minji playing on the ladies tour, of course. But yesterday, course not playing as hard as it normally does. Justin Thomas, take a bow. Ties the course record with a 62. And that's with a bogey on 18. All he had to do was par 18, and he would have shot a course record 61, and ends up shooting a 62, coming a day after he shot a 78. He had like a 2% chance to miss the cut going into that round yesterday. Ties the course record. Now he's 4 under par, tied for 33rd. And Jordan Spieth, who's 1 under today, had one of the funniest scorecards I've ever seen on Thursday. He started on the back 9. So this is his first 9 holes, but holes 10 through 18 at Sawgrass. Birdie eagle, 3 under through 2. Off to a great start. Par. All right, 3 under through 4. Still a great start. Double bogey, bogey. Okay, he's back to even par. Eagle. Okay. Back to 2 under, 2 eagles, bogey, birdie. He had 2 pars. He shot a 34 with 2 eagles and 2 birdies. He was 2 under while being 6 under on 4 holes. This is why I love Jordan Spieth. He ended up being 2 under on the day. He made a birdie and a bogey on the back, and then the rest were pars. Well, on the front. But this is why I love watching Jordan Spieth, because you never know what you're going to get when you watch Jordan Spieth play golf. It is an absolute thing of beauty. And I did mention him. He missed the cut this week. But Kevin Roy has been playing some really good golf recently. Shot 77 in round 1. Couldn't really come back from it. Shot a 40 on the front. And then ended up shooting a 70, 2 under 70 on Friday. So Kevin missed the cut, but hey, finished tied for 6th at the Puerto Rico Open. Had a nice little check put in there. He's currently 74th in the FedEx Cup standings. He's made $392,000 this year. World ranking has gone up into the below 200. He's 192nd in the world now. So, Kevin, we're all rooting for you here in the Cuse. Hope you come back to Bellevue at some point this summer. Play again. I would love to see you. One of the favorite interviews I ever did was interviewing Kevin right after he got his PGA Tour card from the Corn Ferry Tour. That was awesome on the Man-Child Show. So we're all rooting for you. And keep playing good golf, Kevin. That's your golf update for the day. We got to get one more break in. We'll come back and wrap things up here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
For 40 years, you've held.
Yeah, Tiger tearing his Achilles sucks, but take a couple years off, Tiger. Play on the Champions Tour, take a cart, win every event. Yeah, maybe. But I would love to see Tiger keep playing on the Champions Tour. I've talked about it before. I love the Champions Tour. I think the Senior Tour is awesome. I love going down to Enjoy for the Dicks. I think it's so much fun. I'm going to try to go down again this year, get credentialed again, because Enjoy is such a beautiful course, and I love playing it. I've played it a few times now. So I love the course, but the senior tour rocks, and I would love to see Tiger on it. And there's so many great players. Patrick Harrington, John Daly, Ernie Els, Freddie Couples, Miguel Angel Jimenez. Like these guys, a couple of them, Ernie Els and Bernhard Langer, guys were stars in their PGA Tour career for sure, but they've also got guys like Greg Chalmers, who wasn't really a regular tour guy and does so well on the senior tour. So I love watching the Champions Tour. So I hope Tiger goes there because I think it's really fun golf. No golf here. Fulton still had a foot of snow on the ground this past week at Battle Island. I listen to Foxfire yesterday. I hit it into a snowbank at one point. It was not good. The golf was not good, Jim. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260, wrapping up another fun-filled hour. Hour flew by today. Solo show for me today. So sometimes the solo shows, it's like, oh, man, that's a long hour. This one flew by. Fun show today. Talking a lot of college basketball. Shout out Stone Sports at Stone Sports Podcast for chiming in. You can hear me and Stone in a different show every other Thursday live on Twitch and Twitter, the Half Ounce Half Hour, going through some of the funniest news stories of the week. Not necessarily of the week, but the week that we find them. Stoned and Josh and I go and try to find really fun, funny, interesting news stories, and we just make jokes about them. It's a really fun show. I love doing it. I was very happy when Stone asked Josh and I to be his official co-hosts for the return of the Half Ounce Half Hour. We had subbed before when the show was in its infancy, but we are now the co-hosts, and we love doing it. It's one of the favorite things that we do. And so make sure to check that out. Thursdays at 8 o'clock, live on Twitch and Twitter. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Make sure, if you're going to the parade today, which I'm sure a lot of people are, the parade's starting in just about 3 minutes. So if you're going to the parade, enjoy. It's a beautiful day outside, but enjoy responsibly. Don't make any poor decisions. Drink responsibly. If you're going to drink beer from our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, of course. But make sure you do so responsibly. Don't drive if you've been drinking. But have a lovely time. Like I said, it's an absolutely gorgeous day. I think me and the lady are gonna go down there right after this. Check it out. She's never been to the parade before. I've been a few times. I'm not a big parade guy in general, so I don't, I don't live or die for the parade. I love St. Patrick's Day season. I've gone to Green Beer Sunday at Coleman's many a time. This season is, I love it as a proud Irish American. But make sure you do so responsibly. That's all I'm asking to anyone out there. So if you're drinking beer, like a Naughty Shamrock from our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, have a couple. Don't make a fool out of yourself, but have a good time. And I'm looking forward to going down there as well because it is a beautiful day outside, and it's going to be a lot of fun to walk. So we'll see you next week. Hopefully Josh will be back. Hopefully he won't have the gout anymore, which is maybe the oldest thing he could have. Josh is 26 years old, and he's got the gout. I don't know how. I get maybe he's older than he lets on, but he'll be back next week, and we'll have a lot more to talk about. So make sure to tune in then, right here at 11 o'clock on the Score 1260. We'll see you then. Thanks to everybody for listening. Peace.